Welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie with the Sea Owl, and this is your reading on what is leaving your life in the next 3 months. I don't really know what to expect for this reading. When I meditated on it, that was the topic that I was given, and it kind of surprised me, and I was like, are you sure, Spirit? What's leaving your life in the next 3 months? That feels like it could be maybe taken, I don't know, it feels like it could be a heavy reading, I guess. And they were like, no, that's the message that we need you to bring. So we're going to pick 3 piles together, and it's really interesting. I hope it's picking up on the video, but the candle's like doing something crazy right now. The flame is enormous. It seems like it's burning really quickly and like flickering, so that's fascinating. All right, I've already prayed and meditated over this, as I said. That's how I was given the topic for the reading. But we're going to go ahead and take a few deep breaths here together to ground our energy, center, and connect together, you and I, so that the messages you most need are brought through. They're brought through clearly, concisely, and they're of the utmost truth from the Most High. That is the only frequency I wish to operate from, and so that is always my intention. Please know that if anything comes through in this reading, especially given the topic of what's leaving your life in the next 3 months, if anything feels too overwhelming or too heavy, know that you can pause the reading at any time. There's no pressure to like power through this reading and put yourself through unnecessary pain. However, I'm a firm believer that Spirit doesn't give us anything that we're not ready for, that we don't need to hear yet, and most importantly, that you already don't have nudges about. So please use your best discernment with these messages. If it doesn't feel like it rings true for you, then it's not for you, my friend, and let it be. That just means that it's a message for someone else, and there may be something else in the group or groups that you picked that do resonate for you. All right, this flame is just going out of control, and I'm gonna move it just a little bit because it's so close to my desk here. I don't want it to catch my desk on fire, but this flame is just bonkers. So where are we gonna put you, girl? I don't want you to be out of the frame, but I don't want you to catch us on fire either. Okay, I don't know what's happening with her. We'll leave it there. Okay, let's go ahead and take a deep breath together. And I do invite you, if you want to take more breaths than I do here, please pause the video and do that. That's amazing. But let's go ahead and take a deep breath in through our nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath. And then exhale through your mouth for about 3 to 4 seconds. You can't do anything wrong here. We're just grounding our energy and connecting together. All right, so let's go ahead and pick our groups. And this card that you pick for your group will kind of be the main signifier for your reading, okay? So, as I shuffle, I hope you're doing great. I hope you've been taking excellent care of yourself. Okay, so this is definitely pile 1. Okay, thank you, Spirit. What would you like? Okay. We're gonna do this one for pile 2 and this one for pile 3. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Now, just looking at these, you may already know which group you want to pick, pile 1, 2, or 3. But we're going to go ahead and look at them together as well. So for group 1, you have 7th house, relationship, number 45, which reduces to a 9. For group 2, we have 3rd house, communication, number 41, which reduces to a 5. And for group 3, we have ascendant, entrance, with number 35, which reduces to an 8. I'm going to go ahead and put some crystals just to be extra on these cards. So for group number 1 with the 7th house, you're going to have this piece of, it's either agate or jasper, and it's really, really beautiful. For group 2, we're going to do moss agate here. And for group 3, I almost feel like I should do another agate for sake of continuity. Agate, agate. And then for group 3, we have this beautiful flower agate point. Okay. All right. Take all the time that you need to meditate, ask Spirit, ask your guides, your guardian angels, your ancestors, which pile or piles have a message for you about what is leaving your life in the next 3 months. There's no rush, and I'm getting you very well could be drawn to all 3, or it just may be one. The most important thing is you don't put any pressure on yourself feeling like you're going to pick wrong, because you just won't. If you get a reading that really doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. It just happens sometimes. But that's also a good indicator that you're using your God-given discernment correctly. So I will leave it here. I love you so much, and I will see you in your reading. Hi, group 1. This is for those of you that picked the 7th house relationship with the agate jasper or agate, I'm not sure, but it's a beautiful stone. All right, so obviously this relationship, okay, sorry. Obviously, this reading is about relationships. Now, it doesn't have to be romantic relationships, although it absolutely could be. I don't know yet. So we're going to dig in here and see what Spirit wants to tell you about relationships and what's leaving your life in the next 3 months. Now, the first thing that comes to me, and I did read the book on this because I felt compelled to, this whole card talks about, is reciprocality a word? I'm not sure, but basically what I'm trying to say is that balanced energy of give and take in relationships. Now, it said something that I thought was really interesting in the book, and it said that all relationships are comprised of 3 individuals: you, the other person, and the tree of the relationship you and the other person build together, right, to connect. In order for that tree to grow and prosper, it has to be given the right substances from both parties in order to grow. So it needs the right conditions. It needs to be given what it needs. And that tree can grow if each person in the relationship is watering that tree equally. There's got to be a balanced give and take energy. And for some of you, I'm feeling like that is something you're aware of, but has felt extremely challenging for you. How can I make my relationships more balanced? For a lot of you, I'm getting a codependent feeling, a codependent aspect that you're aware of, and you're navigating how to unravel your codependency issues so that your relationships can flourish. I think in a lot of the shadow work that you've been doing, you've been able to see that you have been giving much more than what you've been receiving. And I think for many years you thought you were receiving. But I believe you're starting to see now that maybe what you thought was an equal give and take was really there was some wounding going on there, kind of rearing its ugly head, for lack of a better phrase, where you were overlooking a lot of things in relationships in order to keep them. And now that you've been doing the work on yourself, you're seeing that maybe things really weren't as balanced as you had hoped that they were. So I am going to pull some cards from the Spirit Animal Oracle. And they want me to continue touching on the relationship aspect here. I'm really drawn to these two hands holding and kind of like ribbons being wrapped around them. In a lot of ways, there's something that's leaving your life, but it's not the person, which is really interesting. If you have a person in mind, for a lot of you, I don't really feel like the relationship is ending. Now, for some of you it may, but I don't get that for the majority of the people who picked this group. I actually feel more your courage in choosing yourself and saying, I deserve what I give out. Full stop. I deserve what I give out. I deserve that balance, that harmonious energy, you know, where I'm growing this sapling together with the other person, and I'm not doing all the work while this person that I'm looking at with like goo love goggles on is sitting in the lawn chair looking at me, telling me that I look pretty while I'm doing all the work, right? It's like, no, you need to get down here and nurture this sapling with me. Don't just feed me compliments. I feel like you're really starting to realize I need the other person to give in the way that I'm giving. And there's nothing wrong with asking to receive the same amount that you give back. Now, in doing that, I feel like you have to remember that everyone has free will, and that person may say, you know what, I don't want to give back to you what you're asking me. I don't want to give out the energy you're asking of me. And if that's the case, that's when we have to stand in our power and say, I love you, but I deserve better. I deserve more. Okay. And with the 45 reducing to a 9, again, I don't feel like I'm telling you anything you don't already know. This should just be further confirmation for you. Okay. So thank you, Spirit. What else is leaving group 1's life? What other messages do you have about what is leaving group 1's life, Spirit? Okay, that definitely needs to be there. Oh my. Okay, so we have Moth, Spirit, surrender now. 9, 10, 11, 12, so 39. Actually, I feel like 39 is really significant for someone. 39 or 93, actually. 39 or 93. And there's kind of a mirroring there going on, isn't there? As well as the imagery with the moth, this mirroring, and yet it's one single unit. And I just, Rhino, Spirit, number 5, overcome any obstacle. It's kind of interesting because they're telling me here, you know, man, surrendering is like literally the hardest thing I've ever even tried to wrap my mind around. And there's this, you know, it's kind of ironic. Is ironic even the right word to use here? That they want you to, that by surrendering, you are overcoming every obstacle. But it's full on feminine energy, right? It's not masculine. It's not doing to let go and surrender. It's like legit surrendering, and it's really hard to do. But in doing that, that's the only way to truly overcome this obstacle. It's almost like it's been on a constant loop. Whatever this situation that's been going on with for you in relationships has been on like this constant loop of, oh, I think I fixed it. Oh, no, I haven't. Okay, I think I've done more work, and then no, I haven't. It's like this spiral, this loop. And I feel that that is truly ending by you really actually figuring out how to surrender this. How to surrender this relationship. It's like this loop. It's like a relationship loop that you've been stuck in. And how to surrender. Now, I really like that. Lizard Spirit, number 38. Now, look, you saw me shuffle. I can't make that up. Here's 39 and 38 here. Dream the world into being. And now that feels a bit more masculine. This feels a bit more masculine. That is more of that manifestation energy, but also putting the work behind it. But now the reason I feel this here is because this has been part of your obstacle. You know that you're a very strong manifester. You know that you literally can dream your world into being and take actionable steps to create that reality, but not so much with this part of your life. This is the obstacle, isn't it? And they're telling me it's not just in romantic relationships, it's in every different kind of relationship you can have. This is something that can only be transformed and alchemized within you. Like no one else can do it for you. I'm getting, let's say for an example, this is a romantic relationship and it's just not working anymore, and the other person, in your opinion, is not putting in the work that you require, right? So you take the step and you make the choice to end the relationship. This same cycle is going to continue in your next friendship, in the relationships that you have with family members, in the next relationship, because it's attached to you. It's going to carry on with you. Now, when I say attached, this doesn't feel necessarily like something that you could do like in a cord cutting or something like that. Although you probably could do something like that. This feels more like a need for recognition from you about the need and ability to fully surrender what's not working, to look at the role that you subconsciously or otherwise may play in this. Now, I'm only going to say this because it must resonate for someone. I haven't even heard this entire song. This might be bad juju to admit out loud, but I don't listen to Taylor Swift. But the song that they're giving me, not because I don't like her, I'm in a weird place in life right now. I'm not really watching or listening to anything. So I'm not bashing her. I'm just saying I don't listen to it. But the song that they're giving me is that, hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. And now they're not saying this to upset you or hurt you. It's an awareness. It's just an awareness because you've been asking, how do I get to this next level of reaping what I feel I deserve? How do I get there? And they're just wanting to let you know. Maybe you're a Taylor Swift fan, and so that's actually like a comfort to hear that. I don't know. But I know that it's hard to hear that we might be a source of or playing a part in our own suffering. That can be hard to hear. Look at this flame again. Now, they need you to know that you are going to overcome this obstacle. It is literally written in the stars, I feel like you could look in your astrological chart and see where certain planets were when you were born and be like, okay, that's why I have this problem. Or it could even be familial, like how you were raised, things that you witnessed, or how your parents interacted with each other, how you interacted with your sibling, and maybe your sibling has mental health issues that were never addressed as you were being raised, and it carries over into how you carry on your relationships now, maybe even 50 years later. Okay, so I want to see here these other cards that came out. We have number 33, freedom is yours, with the horse spirit. Then we have 58 with stag spirit, take the lead. Look, that's such a similar energy here. And then we have number 36, koi fish, there is always enough. Now, I do feel like koi fish in particular for someone is a sign. Maybe you have a tattoo of a koi fish. Yeah, there's something about koi fish for someone. So that is a sign for someone. I just want to make sure you can see. There's such a regalness about you. And I feel like you are more, this might be kind of a strange turn of phrase, but that's what they're giving me. You are more in love with yourself now than you've ever been. Even though you feel like you have a lot more work to go, I don't think you're someone who takes enough time to look back and see just how far you've come. And so let's compare the way that you care about yourself now compared to 7 years ago. I know, with the feeling they're giving me right now in my solar plexus, I know if you go back 7 years ago to the way you felt about yourself, treated about yourself, what you allowed to go on and occur, you are a completely different person. And 7 years from now, you're going to look back at that person as you probably already think that person feels like a stranger to me. But now you just have such an immense well of love for yourself. And not just one aspect. I'm talking about the hard to love aspects too. The parts that are hard to look at, the parts you don't want to share and that you get upset with yourself about, like, why am I like this? Why did I do this? You're starting to love those parts of you too, because you're realizing those parts are just as much a part of you as the parts that you want everybody to see on display. And so when you start to fully alchemize all this and alchemize your pain, your fear, anything that made you feel small, and you're turning it into your power piece, like the thing that is most powerful about you. You're literally unstoppable, like a rhino. Overcome any obstacle. Take the lead like a stag. Look at these power animals here. And honestly, I can find the power in every single one of these animals, especially the moth. The moth signifies movement between worlds, the unseen, transformation especially. And you're fully out of your chrysalis phase now. You're like, you've got your rhino suit on. You're just kind of learning how to be the rhino that you want to be in this world, right? I don't feel any hardness about you. I feel conviction that you have fought so hard and worked so hard to get to this point, that now you're not going to accept anything less than greatness from those relationships in your life, because you give that to yourself now. Truly, anything that may leave your life in the next 3 months, your guides need you to know it is for your highest good, because you can't go backwards. You've come too far. There's no going backwards here. And there's something very angelic about you even. I really feel that several of your main guides are your guardian angels. Archangel Michael is, I know that everybody likes to pray to Archangel Michael and work with Archangel Michael, but he's coming through. So if you work with Archangel Michael, that is a very big confirmation for you that he's here and he works with you and he sees you and he loves you and he's proud of you. But you have so many other guides and angels on the other side. Archangel Gabriel is coming through right now. He's a very strong one. He's to my left. I feel him to my left. I'm so grateful. Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Michael, thank you so much. Mary Magdalene. There's some really, I don't know why this seems funny to me, but some heavy hitters, you could say, in the spiritual world that work with you. And these are energies that you revere and they revere you. So let's go ahead and take these. Actually, I don't want to take them down. We're just going to work around them if that's okay. All right. I'm going to use that incense is bugging me a little bit. Okay. Oopsie. So I want to use my, I cannot remember the name of this deck, and it's one of my favorites. Oh, it'll come to me here. A shamanic. Oh, I guess I could look on the deck. It's a shamanic healing oracle. So there you go. One of my favorite decks. And can I just make a little disclaimer here? So I had ordered some decks like 6 months ago when I first found out about Temu. And I can make some really silly judgment calls sometimes, but I was like, oh, these must be decks that were like damaged, or like the box was damaged and they couldn't be sold. And I thought, oh, I'm saving some decks. No, man, they're all ripoffs of the artists. So while I use them because I have them and they are amazing, please don't buy decks on Temu. That's just my personal 2 cents, because the artists who make these decks deserve recognition and they deserve compensation. And if I had known, I haven't bought anything from there since. If I had known that, I would have never done it. But even still, if you already have decks from Temu, there's nothing wrong with the decks. They're just as magical. It's just that I hate that the artists aren't getting what they deserve, you know? So there's that. Okay, so we're going to use the shamanic healing oracle. And can you please give us more information and specifics on what is leaving pile 1's life in the next 3 months, Spirit, please, and thank you. Spirit guides, angels, and ancestors of pile number 1, what is leaving pile 1's life in the next 3 months, please, and thank you. Any more specifics and details, please, and thank you. Okay, what is this? We have forgiveness, number 23. Thank you, Spirit. What else is leaving pile 1's life in the next 3 months? Thank you. Okay. Well, we have letting go, number 43 at the bottom here. And I want to say that I want to tell you about Mr. Rogers for a minute. Mr. Rogers, well, first of all, number 43 has come up for me so much. And I was like, why is this number so important? Why is this number standing out to me? A few months ago, I started watching Mr. Rogers with my kids. And I go down rabbit holes when I get, really interested in something. So I'm learning all about Mr. Rogers, and he is someone that I want to emulate. So I'm learning all about Mr. Rogers, and I come across, I think it was on his Wikipedia page actually. He has this whole thing, or had this whole thing about the number 143. And so it immediately caught my eye, and I'm like, what does this mean? Well, 143 are the numbers of I love you, of the number of letters in each word in I love you. But more than that, Mr. Rogers weighed 143 pounds his entire adult life. And he said that the fact that he weighed 143 pounds every day in his adult life, and that 143 equates to I love you, is a destiny fulfilled. That's what he said about himself. And it feels very relevant to your reading, because at the center of all of this is love. And it is love for yourself. And that can never be taken from you. And no one can diminish that. And you have worked so, so, so hard to cultivate this love within yourself. And now with forgiveness coming through, I feel very strongly that as tides change and you start voicing, you know, this is what I deserve, this is what I want in my relationships, I am deserving of this. As you fully begin to integrate that, you may have some feelings of guilt, or am I being selfish? Am I doing the right things? And I just hear, no, 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 no. We need to forgive those feelings. We need to forgive the person in question. We need to forgive ourselves, because really, actually, there's nothing to necessarily forgive if we just remember that everything is rooted in love. Let's say that you choose to leave someone that you're in a relationship with. You're leaving, at this point, what I see is you are making the choice to leave someone because you love yourself enough to do so. And it's something that your soul knows needs to be done. Okay? If you wrestle with any kinds of bad, quote unquote, bad feelings about this, I need you to kind of wrap yourself and maybe the other person in this Yeshua energy of love and forgiveness. If you go and watch videos on near-death experiences, and if you feel interested in that, I highly recommend it. I myself am someone who has had a near-death experience, so I find it really fascinating to listen to other people who have had similar experiences that I encountered. It gives me such confirmation about my journey and where we're going. I get a little emotional about it. If you can see that everything goes back to love, okay? Everything goes back to love. Then I think it will be easier to process anything that you are having to leave behind. It may even be easier to work through some forgiveness that you have to do towards the other person. Because for some of you, the other person really may have had, like in that scenario where you are nurturing the sapling and they're sitting in a lawn chair, like eating what? Eating potatoes. Okay, well, eating something and like telling you that you look cute while you're doing it because that used to be enough for you. You know, there may, if that's something you've been dealing with, you may have some anger there, and that needs to be forgiveness needs to be brought into that equation so that you can fully process and move through that and move on. But there's, okay. We also have abundance, number 13. And that's not what's leaving your life. Like, no. Abundance is what is coming in in place of what you may have to release, or in place of what leaves on its own. Again, I'm getting very strongly that some of you have actually a cycle in your birth chart and your transits going on right now that will explain exactly what you're experiencing. If you've never used the app, The Pattern, I'll try to remember to leave a link for it down below. It does an excellent job of explaining different transits and cycles you're going through right now. But my personal favorite is Time Passages. That app is chef's kiss. Okay, so we have abundance that's coming in. And specifically, I'm getting that 3 things over the next 3 months are going to leave your life. And these are not things to be scared of, okay? Especially with the number 13, reminding me of the death card. Death, rebirth. Things are leaving your life so that the abundance can finally come in. Okay, this is good energy. This is really good energy. And so I want you to know that you've got 3 things that are moving out, and so an abundance can come in. Okay, Spirit is not going to take something from you without giving back to you. And it may not be like instant, but this actually is fairly quick moving energy because you've kind of been through the ringer of everything else for a hot minute. Okay, so this, I feel like you're at the tail end of this. All right, then we have honoring your energy here with this, looks like blue morning glories, and that is so significant. This came up for me several months ago on my Instagram. I had a whole, and I couldn't tell you to save my life exactly what it was about. We're going to have to look that up. And then 32, struggle. Now this is leaving your life. Struggle in the way that you have known it is leaving your life. And how interesting that we have another fish here on top of the koi fish, with the morning glories going up towards the sun. And I don't know if you've ever grown morning glories, but those things are hardy, they're tough, and all these seeds down here, it doesn't matter what you do, there's a morning glory seed somewhere that's gonna pop up next spring. That's been my experience with them. This feels so much like a further confirmation for you that they have seen your struggle and your perseverance, that you're always reaching, and even when it's tough, you're reaching for the sun, the star, you're reaching towards the heavens for your highest good because you know you're deserving of it. That is such a big deal. And then in the middle we have 37, which reduces to a 10, finality, emotional release. This is a really, really potent reading for the ones that it resonates for, because I am hearing ask and you will receive, and that is what's going on in your life right now. I mean, I can't sugarcoat it. You may have a few things leave your life that are going to hurt, but I don't think it's going to be devastating. In fact, I think you're going to know that these things have to go, or that these people have to go. Many of them, you're not even going to have to do any work. Like, it's going to happen because they're not in the same vibration as you anymore. And so there was a reading that I did a couple days ago where they were talking about it's your choice if you want to hold on to the sand that's falling through your fingers right now. Because what's already ended and leaving and passing from your life, that can't be changed. It is what it is, you know. But how you choose to react to it and be a witness to it and allow it to affect you, that is your choice. I feel like while you may have a surge of emotions in relation to what's leaving your life, you're going to know that these things are leaving your life so that room is being made for the abundance that is due for you, that you've asked for, that you've been working for. You know, if you have a room that's packed, you can't bring new things into it unless you take some things out. The things that are being taken out of your proverbial room are things that don't serve you. And they're wanting me to remind you again that you have asked for this. You've done the work for this. And that everything that is going to be removed from you is going to be replaced with something so much better. You really can't even wrap your head around it. Not yet anyway, but you will. You know why? Because you know you're deserving of it now. How beautiful is that? All right. I would like to get one more message for you before we wrap up your reading, Group 1. And this one is going to be, well, let's just see. I'm not going to put actually I have to put a card back in here that I've been looking at for a couple months because I needed it for myself. So, any other messages for Group 1, Spirit? Any other messages for Group 1, please and thank you. Any other messages? Alrighty. Messages for Group 1. Any other messages for Group 1? Please and thank you, Spirit. Spirit guides, angels, and ancestors of Group 1. Share your voice. Didn't we say that? With your voice, your throat chakra, speaking what you know you deserve now. Come out of the cave, persecution, expression. Any other messages for Group 1? Oh my word. This is the actual card that I had sitting up here. Are you serious? I mean, I know you're serious, but are you serious? Okay. Transformation. That's literally, it says things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing, and share your voice. This truly is what is coming through here for you. There is this enormous, I want this one too. There's this enormous transformation going on in your world right now. And it happens by you surrendering to it, and also using your voice to speak what you deserve, to speak out into existence. I love myself and I am deserving of the same energy I put out. I'm deserving of that. I'm more than deserving of that. You know, our word truly is our wand, and we have to be so cognizant of our mindset every day and the words that we speak and the things that we think. And your voice is finally able to speak up for itself and voice what it deserves, what you deserve. That is changing. And by you sharing your voice, you're literally creating the transformation you've been asking for. Okay, let's see what your final card is. Lemuria, creating heaven on earth. It's happening. This is what you're doing. You have been creating your own personal heaven on earth. And now you know that you deserve to be there. So now you get to be. And all of the stuff that doesn't need to come with you, that doesn't serve you, that isn't going to put in the work, doesn't get to come with you to the heaven that you have created. I know that you may have some painful endings here coming up, but the abundance that's going to just be pouring over you in the next 3 months, you're going to see it's going to make sense. So if you have any moment in the next 3 months where you're like, Spirit, I don't know what's happening and this is too much and this hurts too much, please remember that these are the birth pains before you're fully in your new world, in your new life, in your own personal Lemuria, okay? You're experiencing the labor pains before you get to be birthed into this heaven on earth that you have created. I don't think I could say anything more for this reading. This is truly beautiful, and what an inspiration you are for the work that you've done. It's amazing, and it is commendable, because you have to choose to do it and then choose to keep showing up, and you've done it. You've done it. You've done it. I also want to mention something about the lotus flower. So we have several different flowers here, you know, going on for you. That feels very significant. And so if you feel called, I would look at lotus flower symbolism and blue morning glory symbolism, because I believe both of those flowers are very significant to your journey the next few months. All right, we're going to leave it there for you, Group 1. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me here. Thank you to your guides. Thank you to mine. Thank you to Amazing Spirit for allowing me to be a conduit for these messages for you, and for the unconditional love that we have access to and get to experience all the time from Spirit. I love you so much, and I wish nothing but the best for you in the months ahead. And more than anything, my dear Pile 1, please take excellent care of yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hi, Group 2. This is Allie, and welcome to your reading. This is for those of you that picked the 3rd house communication card and the moss agate number 41, which reduces to a 5. And the 3rd house is, as it says here, about communication, but it's also a lot about sibling or sibling-like relationships. In its shadow aspect, we're looking at sibling rivalry, and it doesn't have to be an actual sibling. It could be someone who's been in your life for a long time that is comfortable to you, that it's like a sibling-like rivalry. But overall, it is about how you use your voice to communicate in the world, how people perceive you, how you learn to kind of move in the world based on those sibling-like relationships as you have grown. So I'm really excited to see, you know, what is leaving your life in the next 3 months as it pertains to the 3rd house in communication for you. This card is number 41. It reduces to a 5. 5s are all about change, and also I feel like divine grace that's coming through as well. I just noticed that our candle, which has had a really interesting flame this whole time, is just now starting to like overflow. The wax is starting to overflow. And it hasn't done that the entire time this candle is burned. It's only started right now. So that feels significant. An overflow of communication, perhaps, that might be leaving your life. But if that's the case, I feel like it would be a blessing. I don't even know what that means or what that would look like. I'm actually really drawn to use the Starseed Oracle for you to get more information on what exactly is leaving your life in the next 3 months. So if you feel so inclined to take another deep breath or just to ground your energy a little more while we shuffle cards, I want to do that on camera together here. So nothing has been pre-pulled. We're going to go through all of this together here. Oh, we want that one. Okay, okay. All right, we have Earthed. Learning how to be human in the world and not of it. And now that's really interesting because the third house is all about how you have learned to be human, how you have learned to move in the world. And I feel like you in particular, group 2, for almost all of your life that you have been cognizant of this, have felt like you're in the world but not of it, that you're different. For many of you, for a long time, that may have not felt like such a blessing. But I hope as you've gotten older and learned more about yourself, you've realized what a blessing not really being of the world is. So that is very, very interesting. Also that we were reminded to take a deep breath and ground ourselves again as we began this reading. And that's the card, the first card that came out here. I'm also really drawn, I hope you can see it, to the kind of the rainbow look on this card here, as she's kind of descending and about to land, I think in the bottom of the ocean is kind of what it makes me, yes, okay, what it makes me feel. But she is completely surrounded in a bubble. I was gonna say protected, and you are protected, you have been protected, but it also almost feels like there's part of you that has maybe kept yourself in a kind of overprotective bubble in a way to keep you from getting hurt. Okay. Let's see what else comes out here for you for group 2. What is leaving their life in the next 3 months? Let's just see what we have so far. All right, we have surrender to the sweetness, Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. And the Seas of Mintaka. Now, these colors are all so similar, and not all of the cards in this deck are this similar or have this kind of water sea theme to them like each of these cards do. We also have We the Hathors on the bottom of the deck, and I do feel like that's significant. We'll get there. So I just want to make sure that you can see everything. All right. I do get this deep sense of you. You're kind of on the precipice of, I want to say, like complete release of old ways of moving and showing up in the world. I feel like you have kind of kept yourself hidden to a degree as you have grown, because as we kind of touched on here, it feels like you have felt isolated in who you are as a person compared to the rest of humanity, as if you don't even fit in this world as being a human. And I feel sad to say this, but I feel like you've probably spent a great amount of your life feeling like you're on the other side of the glass from everybody. Watching and learning how to behave as a human, but just not feeling of the world. There may, for some of you, if you do have siblings that you've not gotten along with, I feel like that was kind of one of the first things that you realized that caused dissonance within you as a child, is that you couldn't even feel at home at home. Like you couldn't even feel at home in the world with the people who you shared a home with, the people in your family who you'd think, if I can't feel at home with my family, then who in the world would I ever feel at home with? And I feel like while you've done your best to make yourself at home in this world, the flip side of this has been you kind of keeping yourself in this, encapsulated in this bubble where you're visible but not quite attainable, or what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe attainable is that, like, hard to pin down. I'm hearing it like the life of the party. Everybody wants to be around you when you have your party face on, but you don't get that party face out very often. It's something that you learned. This is a learned behavior, okay? That's what's coming up here. And this learned behavior that you may have felt that it served you in the past is what is leaving. It is an unearthing of you, okay? Taking away this, when you finally land in this protective capsule around you dissipates, right? You're finally open. Oh my gosh, this makes so much sense now. You're finally open to fully experience like the seas of life, fully allowing yourself to be human. In the past, it felt like you didn't feel like you were even allowed to be. So you learned how to move in the world of being a human, but not of the world. Now, I think you realized that was a bunch of noise. That was a bunch of bullshit, honestly, to keep you separate. And where you thought you were protecting yourself, you realized was actually a protective mechanism to help keep you feeling separate. I don't think you realized this I do feel like you've realized this and done work on it, which is why it's leaving your life. But I don't think you even realized this for a great amount of time, just how separate you were kind of intentionally keeping yourself, consciously or otherwise, in order to not have any further damage done to you and to your precious heart and your psyche. The freedom that's coming here is unlike anything that you've truly ever known, and you can sense it and you can see it coming and you're ready for it. But there's some things that they want to talk about to help you fully I don't even want to say step, I want to say dissolve into the energy of being fully human, of living out the rest of your life fully human and experiencing, because you know that you are deserving of this. And it's interesting to me because many of us who have felt this way in the past, of being in the world but not of it, I think many of us thought that we were helping ourselves by remaining a bit separate or standoffish from others. And it's like something, I don't even know if anything big happened or if you just woke up and kind of had an epiphany one day, like, I'm keeping myself separate. Nobody else is keeping me separate at this point. It's just me. It's just me. I'm the one who's doing it. And I feel like you really looked at that and said, okay, how do I fix this? This is my life. This is the only life I have in this incarnation that's happening right now in this present moment. And I'm not fully present because I'm keeping myself separate. It's like you had this realization and then it was like full steam ahead. I'm ready to do the work so that I'm fully experiencing life. And it's not like you had this epiphany and then the next day you're a totally different person, although to an extent you were, you had this realization and you've taken actionable steps to get to where you are right now. But it did take time to get where you are here right now. It's so interesting because I lit this incense and I'm actually gonna have to put it out because it's about to choke me. It's like way too much. And this is not one that I normally use. I'm trying not to burn myself. This is not an incense that I normally use. It's just what I have because I'm out of everything else right now. And it's like, it's too much. And I feel like that's kind of similar to what you have gone through, where you kind of woke up one day and you were like, not allowing myself to fully participate and be in this world is too much trouble. Like it's more trouble to keep yourself separate, you've realized, than to allow yourself to be in the world. And maybe, yeah, you might get hurt again, but that is part of being human. That's part of having this human experience, okay? Bringing unconsciousness to light here at the Seas of Mintaka feels so incredibly potent. And it says seeing potential here, because you can see all the goodness that you're able to do in the world and will be able to do, all of the people that you're going to get to meet that you haven't met yet, that are going to love you so deeply for exactly who you are, all of the experiences that you're going to get to have that you haven't had yet. You can see all the potential in your future, and this feels so exciting, like a literal surrender to the sweetness of life, because you are choosing yourself and saying, you know, not being human, or not fitting in with this family, or not fitting in with these people in my town, or not, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care. I just have to be me. And it's like, I keep seeing this with the two birds here, and this phrase is not my favorite, but it's birds of, I hate this phrase, okay? I just want to say this. I hate the phrase, but what's coming through is birds of a feather flock together. And what I feel here for you is that allowing yourself to be whoever you are in your imperfect, beautiful authenticity, quirkiness, everything, allowing yourself to soar as exactly as you are is exactly what's going to bring in these people that I think deep down you have longed to have in your life. Other people with quirkiness and, you know, hard upbringings and feeling like they didn't belong. But now it's not in like this teenage angsty kind of way. It's in this very healed way. This is so beautiful. It's in an incredibly healed way. And if you are, I want to say, if you're female, or if you have, consider yourself to have a very feminine energy, I see, I guess you don't even have to be female. You could be any gender, or have any lean more feminine or masculine in your own personal energy. But I do see more nurturing, feminine friendships entering your life as a result of this overprotectiveness that you have carried and nurtured, actually, as a result of it dissolving and falling away. That makes perfect sense, actually, with the We the Hathors. That deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. It's kind of screaming to me that the nurturing kinds of friendships you have longed for in your life, that you thought, no one's ever going to really be able to see me because no one else is like me. But there are people, you know, no one is exactly like you, and that's what gives you your special sauce. But there are people out there that want to meet you and love on you and show you how amazing you are, that are also as different and quirky and unique and imperfectly perfect, just like you are. I would like to get some more messages to help us understand a little bit more what's going on here for you, what's leaving your life. And I'm going to use one of my favorite decks. Even though this is a Temu deck, I already went on a rant in pile 1 about Temu. So if you want to hear that, it's like in the middle of that reading. It's just, please don't buy decks on Temu. Learn from my lesson. But either way, this deck is amazing. The deck itself, and it's the shamanic, I don't know why I said it like that, shamanic healing oracle. So please and thank you, Spirit. Further messages for group 2. What is leaving their life? This, I can't get this incense to quit. It is really intense. It is very strong. It is overwhelming my senses. And I also find it kind of comical. All right, what else, Spirit? I don't know if it's showing up, the amount of smoke, the sheer amount of smoke that's coming from this incense. I wish it would stop. I don't know how to make it stop. All right. Thank you, Spirit. What else do you want us to know about pile 2? What's leaving their life in the next 3 months? What else does pile 2 need to know about what's leaving their life in the next 2 months? Ooh, I love this. We have 22, transformation. This also came out in pile 1. So if you were torn between the two, look at that. It's all good. Transformation. It's all good. Number 18. I feel like number 18 is probably a sign for someone. And triangles, change. You're going to be going through you're already going through it, I'm hearing. Lots of change. We have duality on the bottom. And I feel like that's actually a big energy that you've been leaving. You've been leaving this feeling of duality. We'll get into that more. And then we have stripping illusions. Yeah. This is exactly what you're going through. You have been steadily alchemizing yourself, transforming yourself to strip away all the illusions of what you thought it would be like to move about in the world. You have realized it's not true, that there were a lot of untruth that you had fed yourself over the years from painful experiences that you had that made you think moving and living in the world was going to feel a certain way. I do feel for some of you, it genuinely does feel like there was some very painful sibling stuff that happened to you. And it's going to be different for each person listening if that resonates for you. But I feel like your upbringing, particularly with siblings, really formed and shaped how you saw other people in the world. I just keep getting like, if this is my home life, how are people who aren't related to me going to treat me? Especially if you already felt like you were different. You've been doing so much work to do exactly this. Strip illusions. Strip away things, lies that were either fed to you or that you kept feeding yourself, consciously or not, that kept you isolated and separate from the world, and you're leaving this behind. I feel like some of you may also be going through a Jupiter return right now. If you're able to look in your birth chart to see, that is just going to be further confirmation for you that these messages are for you. And Jupiter returns are pretty spectacular, in my humble opinion, because there's so much change that happens, but it's always pretty much for the better, to bring in more abundance in your life, to bring in more of that it's all good energy, feeling good, things are okay, I can overcome these obstacles. You have a little extra luck on your side. And I feel like if you're going through this right now, the whole universe has been conspiring to help you know that you're not alone, but that your uniqueness is so needed in its full capacity here on planet Earth. Sure, you may not be of this world, but you, in my opinion, from what I'm getting here, chose to incarnate in this soul, in your body, with your family, to experience the things you're experiencing in order to get to where you are right now, to fully bloom and just explode and just smother the senses of everyone around you with who you are in the best way. No apologies. No feeling like, you know, I need to hide myself or change myself or, you know, mold myself to fit in. There's no more masking. It's just me. It's just me in the world. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be in my world. It's that simple. I don't feel any hard feelings. You know, if you have anyone leaving your world right now, which I felt that way, like that was kind of the whole point of pile 1 of people or things that may be leaving your life. This is definitely a mindset, okay? A mindset that is leaving you for good. But with that could, for some of you, come people who end up just leaving your life on their own volition, because they're not in that same vibration with you anymore. This is all good. This is all really good for you, group 2. It's so incredibly positive. Again, there's something about maybe violets or 5-petaled flowers that may be very significant for you. So let's get a few more cards and see what other information we can get for you. That intense incense is finally stopped. Yeah, I feel really drawn to Wisdom of the Oracle right now. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Spirit guides, guardian angels, and ancestors of group 2. Can you give us further information for group 2? What is going to be leaving their life? What is going on? What can they expect? They keep bringing my eyes back to the It's All Good card, number 18, which reduces to a 9. 27 here with Stripping Illusions also reduces to a 9. So 99 may be very significant for someone. But also I just get repeating numbers because we have 22 with transformation here. And when I saw that 22 transformation, what I actually saw in my mind's eye was 1122. So that might be a sign for someone. Thank you, Spirit. Also, amethyst seems significant for someone out here as well. These might just be like, ooh, I just got the chills all over. Yeah. So these are just like signifiers, I suppose you would say, to help you know that this is your reading. 8, 9, 10 with number 28 and building blocks. Okay. Yeah, look. But I actually see this in the reverse, where, you know, I feel like it could be taken 2 different ways. Building blocks, you're either building them up or tearing them down. And in this situation, I feel like it is reinforcing that idea of you stripping illusions, tearing down this protective, encapsulated bubble that you had built around yourself. And look, she's kind of looking out like, Look at all the things that I've been missing by keeping myself inside of this capsule, this bubble that I had created. I'm done with 28 reducing to a 10. Like I'm done with being hidden and being separate. I am ready, just like with the Seas of Mintaka here, to be fully just surrender to everything. Then we have time for a nap, number 24. With this one, ooh, the fox here and the moon. The fox is really, really standing out to me, as well as the number 6. So let's get one more. Messages on what's leaving pile 2's life in the next 6 months, or 6 months? Interesting. Okay. I'm only going to say 6 months for this one. Okay. I'm only going to say 6 months for this card. Everything else is 3. And that makes sense. Community. Oh my word. So the community with time to go, another 9, 45 reduces to a 9, time to go at the bottom of the deck. And she's running away from where she's been into where she cannot see, but she's running there. She's ready. I want to see this one too. By the book, number 11. You know, following this community that I feel like you have longed for is going to be in full swing in the next 6 months. Look at all these birds here, and they're all flocking to the same place. It is a community that you will be helping build by putting yourself out there finally. And you're going to see it in its totality. Not to say that it'll be finished growing in 6 months, but you're going to see like what you have built in its totality in the next 6 months from when you're watching this. And it's all because you're choosing yourself. Again, very similar message to pile 1, because you're choosing yourself and you're choosing to just loving yourself as you are right now is enough. It's finally enough for you. I feel like you may have had siblings or family members. The siblings with the 3rd house are coming up so strong. But I feel like you may have had people in your life growing up that made you believe that you were so different and so quirky that no one would ever truly love you for you. And I just noticed that our candle went out. And somehow you've realized that you don't have to try to be anything or hide yourself. You don't have to try to do any of that exhausting stuff anymore. You just get to float. And by floating, people get to see you. And then because people get to see you, people get to love you. And this is part of your purpose. 88 is coming through. I want to say you or a sibling may have been born in 1988. And there's a level here of forgiveness, which I feel like you're already working on that. Because I do see that you are starting to really realize that every single thing that has happened in this incarnation has happened on purpose. It is to get you right here. It is to mold you and push you and put pressure on you, just like a diamond, to get you right here, because I really don't want to use the word purpose at all, because I feel like that puts pressure on you, and that is the opposite of what we want to do here. You've had enough pressure on you. But I feel like all of this has been to get you here so people could see you shine in all of your glory. You're this unique gem that cannot be duplicated. You can't find it anywhere else. And finally, like, you're getting cleaned off and you're ready to be shown to the world. For some of you, I kind of feel like You could be seen in the public eye even for something that you're doing. And I feel like if you go back 8 years ago and said this to you, you'd been so freaked out. Like, I don't want to be seen in the public eye, excuse me. But really, it's in such a good, feel-good way now. Like, you know that part of the reason, a big part of the reason you chose to incarnate here and experience all this was because you needed to be seen to make the difference that you want to make in this world. And now that you love yourself fully, you can be seen in your full capacity, full authenticity, fully you. In the next 6 months, you're going to be seen in some capacity. Definitely. Like, look at this giraffe kind of coming out of here to meet all these birds, a baby giraffe. I need to see, there's a word on this card. And I'm at the age now where oh, it says hotel. Interesting. Yeah, hotel. That's really interesting. That is significant to someone, and that could be a message about traveling even. Where I could see some of you being so much in the public eye that you are traveling, that you're having to stay in hotels, but there's also this freeness for you, if and when this comes to pass, that you haven't really been able to experience in your life before because of fear. Again, fears of being seen, fears of moving in the world, fears because you are so distrustful of everyone and everything. I also feel, while it feels that things are going to be picking up very quickly for you, you're also going to have, and that's interesting with the hotel here, and then time for a nap, you're also going to have a lot more time to rest, actually, and be introspective and be nurtured by others, finally. It was almost like Spirit had to put you through so much to realize that you cannot put your happiness in anyone else's hands. I don't know who said this. It's a quote I've heard a lot, and it's so freaking true. But if you put your happiness in someone else's hands, they will drop it every time. And so it feels like your whole life up until this point was a series of events that forced you to realize you could only love and depend on yourself. And in doing so now, you're able to trust that you can try to give more responsibility to other people because your happiness still is not dependent on them. You know, you can give more responsibility to someone to love you correctly and know that your happiness is not dependent on whether they stay or go, because if they don't treat you correctly, you know that you treat you correctly and that you need to use your voice to change the situation that you're in, rather than just keeping yourself at an arm's distance from everyone and everything so you don't get hurt further. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's just get a few more cards since your candle's out. Let's get a few more cards here for you. Ooh, I do. I want it. Okay, so we're going to use these angel number cards, which is really funny because that was coming up earlier in your reading with the repeating numbers 22, 88, 99, 11, 22. Yeah. Okay, so in regard to what is leaving Group 2's life and what they can expect, what do you want them to know, Spirit? What do you want group 2 to know? Let's get started. Final messages for group 2. Please and thank you. This has been a really cool reading, I have to say. Because it's not every day that you find someone who has been hurt as much as you have and still decides to choose themselves and choose to love others and love themselves and show up in their full authenticity in the world. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. A lot of people get hurt once and they don't show up again. You've had this happen throughout your lifetime. And you're showing up. That is something to be commended. I mean, we don't want to use the word purpose because that's just puts too much pressure on people. But your soul chose to incarnate here to fulfill some stuff, and you're just checking them off. You're doing it. That's what I want to say. And man, thank you for being that kind of human, because we literally need you. We need you. We need your energy. We need your personality. We need your funny quirkiness. We need you showing up. Okay? Are you kidding me? Another 9? Wow, I am compassionate. It's your compassion that makes you shine. You are devoted to helping the greater good and have a strong talent for speaking up for others. 3rd house, communication. Your soul is most satisfied when you're being of service. Yeah, that's insane. So, however you're showing up in the world, be it a YouTube channel or a podcast or a Netflix series or a documentary or a website or a book that you're writing, like however you're showing up to use your voice, everything that you have gone through has been for this purpose, to get you here so you can shine and, most importantly, help make actual change in the world, help other people, help the greater good. You signed up for this and you're ticking all the boxes. Like, you're doing such a good job. And then we have 33. I'm getting big Nikola Tesla 369 energy here. So 33, any positive changes or projects you're considering right now will be worth your while. Expect that your power to manifest and create will be heightened. I don't think it could be any clearer. Like, you are literally doing what you set out to do. You're expanding. You are showing up in the world. I want to get you one more angel number. And I'm going to ask a different question, actually. Okay, a blank card, I was going to say. And it's completely blank. Okay, my question was going to be, what can you expect? Like, what is the next big good thing you can expect coming up here for you? And we get a blank black card, because you have officially wiped your slate clean. You're starting fresh, and the mysteries that are heading your way, it's an interesting turn of phrase, but the mysteries of life, the goodness that's headed your way is unquantifiable. It cannot be put on a card. I can't say it out loud, partly because they want there to be a smidge element of surprise for you about all the goodness that's coming, but mostly because it can't even be put into a box. It can't be put into words what's coming your way. You have accumulated so much good karma, I want to say, at this point. And this isn't because you set out to accumulate good karma. This is because you're a good soul who just genuinely cares about other people, and you're going to be rewarded for this. I guarantee you're going to be rewarded for this. This was your reading, group 2. What a cool reading. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me. Thank you so much for doing the work, for choosing yourself. I would love to know who you are. I felt your beautiful, quirky energy throughout the entirety of this reading, and I am another quirky cat just like you are. So I would love to hear from you if you feel compelled to share so we can connect. I loved doing this reading for you. I loved connecting with your beautiful energy. I cannot wait to see what you're creating and what you're going to put out into the world. But more than anything, Group 2, I love you so much. And please take excellent care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hi, Group 3. Welcome to your reading. This is for those of you that picked the Ascendant Entrance card, number 35, which reduces to an 8. And first, I'm already feeling if you were attracted to this pile, you likely have connections with either the number 8 or 88. Or even 888. That seems like a really strong signifier for someone who picked this pile. And 8 always makes me think of the infinity symbol. I think of abundance. I think of the strength card in tarot. I think of all of the infinite amounts of goodness that is available to us at all times if we're willing to have eyes that see that abundance, ears that hear that we are present in abundance at all times, even in the midst of chaos or darkness. And I know that this is much easier said than done. I do know this. But there is something here connected to you where even in the midst of your darkness, you've always been able to see the abundance either waiting for you on the other side of things or right exactly where you are, and that this is one of your superpowers. This is a strength and a gift of yours, and it is something that you were born with. I would not be a bit surprised to see if some of you have a Leo ascendant, but you don't have to have a Leo ascendant. It would just be further confirmation for you, for sure, that this is the right reading for you. Interestingly, when we look at the Ascendant card, and I feel very compelled to read from the book for you. I already read it before I sat down to record, just to tap into the energy a little bit more. And I also find astrology infinitely fascinating. So I love to read the guidebook that came with the Star Code Astro cards because I feel like I learn such a plethora or an abundance of information every time I sit down with one of the cards from this deck. So let's go ahead. If you want to just ground your energy, take some deep breaths and just listen. I'm going to go ahead and read from this because it's very integral to the entirety of your reading. And I feel like Spirit wants us to just have a really good baseline of exactly what this Ascendant card means in relation to what the messages they want to bring forward for you, okay? So it says, in a natal chart, the Ascendant tells a story about how you walked into this life at your birth and how you walk into any new situation. It describes the door through which you see the world and the world sees you, your filter system, and hints at your awakening consciousness. The Ascendant, also known as the rising sign, describes the degree of the zodiac just coming up over the eastern horizon at the moment and place of your birth. Action. How do you see the world? Take a long look at the assumptions and presumptions through which you filter your experience of reality. Really look at your privilege, trauma, or certain attributes of your history can distort the reality of the moment. Do what you can to dismantle those obstructions so you can see the whole view. Open the aperture. Conversely, look carefully at the signals you send off. Do they match your intent? Do you say you're fine when you really need a hug? Are you trained to sound modest or apologetic when really you know what you're doing? Or do you act like you know what you're doing when you don't? And that one has a big asterisk for me. Notice what you project onto the world and take responsibility for how you are seen. So the ascendant is where you become visible. If this makes you nervous, investigate what needs to be healed or where you need to grow your confidence in order to feel comfortable being seen. And I want to say, if this part is resonating for you, it's because you're meant to be seen now, and I feel like you're very resistant to that, or you've been very resistant to that. I feel like you're not ready to be seen, and that's actually holding you back, and the train is confirmation. Thank you, Spirit. If you are asking about a project, look for what needs to be repaired or improved before you hold a press conference. The challenge: the front door is only one part of the house. Be willing to look beyond appearances and into the heart, but don't count on others' ability to do so. And then the gift is, over time, your reputation is built on what you do, not how you look. I feel like in many, many areas of your life, you have this innate deep well of strength, of reserves, of an ability to push through even the toughest obstacles. You know how to put on your party face, and this might be triggering for someone, and I don't mean it in any other way than to help you acknowledge and see yourself in a different light and how you may be operating in the world. But for many of you, I feel like you operate from a place of feeling like you need to be the go-to, the person with wisdom, the oracle, when in actuality, it would behoove you. That's not even a word I use. It would definitely serve you to be someone who says, when you don't know the answer, I don't know the answer. Let's find out together. I think your peers would appreciate you a lot more. And I know this is a hard message, okay? Please know that anything that's coming up here is in no way meant to hurt you or harm you or cause you pain. It's simply opening the aperture to look at the entirety of the house, like it said, not just the front door, okay? And see in what areas we need to really look at, examine, maybe work through or work on or grow through, so that we are living and embodying the fullness of who we are and who we came here to be in this moment. I feel like you in particular, you are a wealth of wisdom. Like, you are the oracle, and yet you don't know everything, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And I feel like you yourself catch yourself doing this, where, let's say for an example, someone comes to you and they're just wanting to tell you about something that they're experiencing, and it might be an uncomfortable thing that they're experiencing. And I don't get that they're coming to you for advice or anything, but you immediately jump to the advice giving or telling someone why they feel that way. And I don't feel like it is received in the way that your wisdom should be received, because of maybe the way that you present it, okay? I feel like as a child, I'm hearing the word disenfranchised, hidden. I feel like people maybe didn't want to listen to you or pay attention to the good advice that you just have, like that you just innately carry in your DNA. You are a wise person. But I feel like there's wounding from your childhood of not being heard, that now you have this obsession. Yeah, it's an obsession and a compulsion of needing to be the one who has all the answers all the time. And so you may spend an inordinate amount of time learning and absorbing and researching, but you're not actually sharing it with the masses. You're just kind of holding it on until someone passes by with a passing comment of, man, this is a real bummer in my life. And you're immediately saying, but this is a bummer because you're not doing this, because you aren't XYZ. This is a bummer because you need to be taking these steps, blah, blah, blah. In your heart, right? Because your heart is in such a good place. and your heart genuinely cares about people, you immediately, that is kind of your instant, I need to help them see. I need to help them fix this. I'm the wisdom keeper. I'm the wise one. And in a, maybe even a subconscious level, it's coming from a place of you needing to project that in order to assert your authority. And for you, you have found that because you're innately so wise and you're able to absorb so much wisdom from other sources, that you feel like you have to immediately present yourself, whether someone's asking for advice or not, with having all the answers. And Spirit is wanting to let you know that this is something that has to leave your life now. This way of being has to leave your life. I really genuinely hope this reading is not upsetting or triggering anyone, because it feels like rather a hard message from Spirit, but I can't sugarcoat what they're giving me. And they're telling me that this information is for your highest good, no one else's. But in order, but you have to reach your highest good because you have wisdom that is meant to be shared with the masses, okay? Going back, there was a line in that book that really, I think I said there, I felt an asterisk being put there. Sorry, let me take a sip of my water. Okay. There was a line in the book that I felt like there was an asterisk being put there. Asterisk? Why can I not say this word? Yes, being seen. Okay. The ascendant is where you become visible. If this makes you nervous, investigate what needs to be healed or where you need to grow your confidence in order to feel comfortable being seen. I almost feel like practice, like on friends and family and friends and family and the like, especially over the last 5 years, I'd say. You've really been almost what Spirit would consider practicing sharing your wisdom and your information on a much grander scale than you had in the past. And there is okay, help me word this, please. Archangel Gabriel, please help me word this. There is a need for you to release this part of your ego. In fact, you have to, okay? Your soul chose to incarnate here to be a sharer of this wise information. But in your current state, as much work as you have done, I feel this, in your current state, it's coming across as ego, is what Spirit's giving me to certain people. And so that your good wisdom is not being heard in the way that it needs to be, because subconsciously or otherwise, you're still operating from this wounded place of not being seen or heard, or your wisdom being appreciated in the way that it should. It's coming from a place of ego. And truly, this almost feels like one of the final things that you really need to work on. This is definitely shadow work, and it is healing work. And it can only be done by you recognizing that you have this propensity to offer your wisdom, whether it's solicited or not, but offer it in a way that can be hard to receive from other people. Okay. God bless you if you're still with me, because this is I don't particularly care. I don't like delivering messages like this, but also that's not why I'm here. If there's only one person that listens to this reading that's meant to hear it and receives this message, then that's all I can do. But this is coming up as what's leaving your life. And like we were talking about in pile 2, if you have this room full of stuff and you're wanting new stuff to come in, you can't allow, like, new stuff can't come in until you work through and process and get rid of the old. And this way of moving in the world is the old. We even have this sun-like thing, only half of it being shown right now. And that's a few messages coming through here. Partly that you have been keeping yourself hidden to a degree, but also your wisdom has not fully been able to shine through because of the way it is being delivered, okay? Let's get some tarot cards. And I feel really drawn to use my botanical tarot deck that one of my soul sisters from Sirius B gave to me, because I feel also that you are very drawn to flowers, that flowers speak to you, that the sacred geometry in flowers and nature speaks to you. And maybe I'm drawn to this right now because I personally feel like the message needs softened up a little bit, but you know, Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Michael are here with me, helping me deliver this message to you in the way that you need to receive it. So I just have to let that go. I have to let that go because this is for your greatest good. And the greatest good of all, I will say, because you have a purpose to be seen on a large scale. If you are coming from pile 2, I wouldn't be a bit surprised because it kind of feels like it's bleeding in. Really, all 3 of the readings are so vastly different, and yet they all feel connected in a really interesting way also. So that might just be confirmation for someone. If you were torn between 2 and 3, you likely have messages in both readings for you. Okay. And that happens sometimes. Also, no pressure if you only want to listen to this one. That's totally fine as well. All right, Spirit, please and thank you. Can you help give me more information on what is leaving Group 3's life in the next 3 months? What is leaving Group 3's life in the next 3 months, Spirit? Please and thank you. What is leaving Group 3's life in the next 3 months? See what we have here. Did you want it right side up? I don't think they're actually giving me reversed from what I'm gathering here. Okay, we have 8 of Pentacles. Are those oak leaves? And I'll have to look up. These are either coins or trilobites. Trilobites, that must be, even if that's not what that is, I feel like that must be significant to come up like that. Oak leaves, perhaps. Any other cards for what is leaving Group 3's life, Spirit, in the next 3 months? Also, I'm just now seeing we have another 8 here, so 88, definitely, and 3 of Cups on the bottom. Now let's go ahead and look in the guidebook for this card to see what, if these are coins or what this is. The guidebook will let us know what that is. Thank you for your patience with me. Okay, so let's see here. It says, oh, it's blackberry. Interesting. Okay. No, that's 8 of Wands. All right, girl. Hang on. I really don't want to edit my videos anymore. I just feel like there's no sense in editing them, even though, I don't know. I'm in a weird place where we're learning and growing as we go together here. Okay, we're in the coins, and now we have 8. Acanthus. This plant has come to symbolize art and beauty, as well as seeing the potential for art in everything. In that same vein, the coins on this card are Celtiberian hacksilver, a currency used in the same location as acanthus grew amongst many people in the region. I am not familiar with what region this is, Spirit, or this plant, so that doesn't help me a whole lot. Okay, this is important. Let me get my plant book for us. One of my favorite books, and if you don't own this book, I cannot recommend it enough. Okay, it's a wonderful resource to have on hand. So acanthus, let's see what this is, because it's important to your reading. All right, I will be right back. Okay, so acanthus its symbolism is that of enduring life. It says that's traditionally displayed at funerary celebrations, and is actually called oak leaf acanthus. So the oak that was coming through there makes sense. And it is primarily like a Mediterranean, Asian plant, okay? Interestingly, and I feel like because you love information so much, you'll find this fascinating too. It has a lot of medicinal uses. It can treat coughs, boils, skin diseases, hepatitis, lymphoma, joint inflammation, and asthma. So there's a lot of thanks for bearing with me here, because there's a lot of information coming through about this card and who you are. The 8 of Pentacles is all about, you know, the starting to reap the rewards of your hard work, seeing that abundance beginning to come into you. And that's exactly where I feel like you're at right now, with the trilobite coming through as a fossil or an artifact. That feels like a stuck energy. Okay, something that has been dormant, kind of stuck where it is for a very long time. And I feel that you as a healer, because ultimately that's what I feel like you are, group 3, I feel like you are finally beginning to see your stuck points and where that is keeping you stuck, where that's keeping you from growing into the fullness of who you are. And some of these stuck points are starting, from what I'm feeling, to get annoying to you. Like, you see it. I'm not telling you anything about yourself you don't already know. And I'm grateful for that reminder, Spirit, because this need to constantly tell people how to fix themselves or their lives is coming. Like, you get that that's one of your stuck points. You see that. So, okay. Thank you, Spirit. What else, please? I mean, with the 8 of Pentacles, the 8-8, it's like abundance is your birthright. Abundance is absolutely your birthright. And I can sense you've been asking, like, where is my abundance? What do I have to do to get there? You know, am I keeping myself stuck? And the answer has kind of been here for a while. This is more of a habit that, like, it's a deep ingrained habit within you, because it's a way to help yourself feel safe and like you matter. But the reality is you matter a great deal to many people. I also feel there could be a bit of what Spirit's bringing through here for you that could be sort of pushing people away that you really love and care about. Okay. Would you look at that with 3 of Cups coming back out again? And then we have Knight of Pentacles here in the middle. You know, it's a very slow moving energy. It's the, as everyone says, it's the slowest moving knight in the deck, but it has staying power, you know. There are old ways of moving in the world that you recognize. You know these things about yourself. You catch yourself as you're doing them, and it's almost like a tick. Like you can't, like you see yourself doing it, and you're like, why am I doing this? Why can't I stop? Like, this person doesn't need to hear this from me. They don't need a lecture. They don't need to hear what they're doing wrong. They need a hug. I know this. Why am I still doing this? It's simply a stuck habit from a lower vibrational way of being that you don't live there anymore. So this is creating dissonance, and it's creating things to move more slowly than you would like also. You are meant to be shown and seen in the world. Your messages are meant to be shared with the world, and I see you going, no, I'm not ready yet. No, I'm not ready yet. I don't know enough. I need to learn more. I need to create more modalities. I need to be XYZ. I'm not ready yet. I'll do it when I'm ready. And Spirit's like, you've been ready for 2 years. And so I feel like you're practicing on your loved ones by offering all this good wisdom instead of sharing it with the masses, which is where it needs to be shared. There with the 3 of Cups, this is joy. This is celebration and happiness and like cheersing. Is that cheersing yourself with your spirit team that you finally overcome a really big stuck point for you. And it's like right on the other side of you. What, Spirit? What is right on the other side? Actually, I want to get, what is it that you need Group 3 to do, Spirit? I mean, what kind of action can Group 3 take to get through this habit, to get over this habit, rather? Okay, we have 5, 6, 7 of Swords. What you're doing is a self-sabotaging behavior. And you are hindering your abundance, you're hindering your relationships, you're hindering the growth within yourself by seeing that you have this stuck point and continuing to just recognize it but not take action on it. I'm getting this very strongly right now. All your guides need you to do is take actionable effort of when you catch yourself doing this, you say, okay, wait, I just want to apologize to you because you didn't ask for my opinion. Do you need my opinion? Are you asking for my opinion, or you just need me to be here? And the more you do that, that's real humility, honestly. That is true humility. And I think it's going to make the people who know you shake in their boots when you do this and make them take notice, of like who the fuck you are. Because I don't know anybody who does that. I don't know if I've ever met a soul who offered unsolicited advice and then said, you know what, I'm sorry, that is a bad habit of mine, and I don't know if you wanted my advice or not. Do you just need me to be here with you in this moment, or do you want my advice? I almost want to cry, because that's as simple as it is. And the people in your life who really love you need to hear this from you as well. You know, I think you've spent a good amount of time alone in your life. I feel like you feel very comfortable alone. I feel like you may have like moved out into the middle of the woods alone at some point in your life and like lived there for 6 months or a year like a hermit. And your soul needed that, you know, you needed that then, but you're not that person anymore. This dragon head is coming through so strongly for me because you have this dragon energy in your aura. It's just a part of you. It's somehow it's in your DNA, and yet there are some kind of like rash, hard-headed aspects of dragon energy that you carry with you as well. And man, you are someone who can just overcome every single obstacle, but I feel like this one is hard for you. Like this is a hard one for you. And they're just wanting to acknowledge that for you. We also have King of Cups on the bottom, which is, that is what we were just talking about, is what a King of Cups would do. Someone who is 3 sentences into making a mistake and they catch it and they acknowledge it out loud to the person that they've made the mistake to, or even just themselves, you know? That is what the King of Cups would do, because they're past their ego. They have integrated all of this, and it's not about, you know, their world is no longer about how others perceive them. And I think in many ways you're very much a free spirit, but when it comes to how people perceive your wisdom, your mind, in the fact that you want to be viewed as this wisdom keeper, because you are, like, you know, you have good good wisdom, taking that actionable step to say, hey, man, I'm sorry, you didn't ask for my 2 cents, is mind-boggling. And that's really all that I'm feeling that you have to do. Although I want to read this 7 of Swords card, particularly with the flower here. That feels really significant to your reading as well. The 7 of Swords with foxglove. In Norse mythology, foxes wear these flowers around their necks to signal to each other that there is danger nearby. It is thought that mysterious powers are given to those that wear them. The swords are Viking narrow sea axes. Okay. I'm sorry. This is so significant. These flowers are worn around the necks to signal that danger is nearby, and it's thought to give mysterious power. So the fox symbolism, just foxes, is very significant. Also going back to where these coins were from, and let me look on my iPad real quick, because it was called like, oh man. Bless you for toughing this out with me. I cannot remember. It was like Celtic something. The coins on this 7 of Pentacles card. Celtiberian Hacksilber. Okay, let's look this up. I may not be pronouncing this right. Okay, Okay. Celtiberians were a group of Celts and Celticized peoples inhabiting an area in the Iberian Peninsula. And that is the part that was significant, that stood out to me, is that I feel very strongly that this Norse, Celt, Iberian Peninsula is something that is significant to you personally, like your ancestry, your history, or even, you know, the kind of healing shamanism that you feel drawn to. Norse, Celtic, Iberian Peninsula. So I feel like that is the main point to the coins here on this card. But I also feel just like oak trees in general. Maybe that's why we needed our magical herbs, because oak trees, I feel they're very strong, aren't they? They're very steady, strong trees. It is, I feel like oak tree people are people that you could count on in a storm. And here we go. Let's see what it says. Fire element, Jupiter, Thor, Zeus, Hecate. These are people that are I'm sorry, deities that are significant to you, I feel. And then here we have Druid with Celtics and stuff. Since the oak was a source of food for early settlers in Britain as well as Europe, it came to be revered and worshipped far back into prehistory. The Druids traditionally would not meet for rituals unless an oak was present, and the very words oak and druid, some say, are related. Interesting. Religious idols were fashioned from oak wood, and witches often danced beneath the tree. The magical uses of oak trees, 2 twigs of oak bound with red thread so that they form an equal armed cross, makes a potent safeguard against evil. It should be hung in the house. Very fascinating. If you can catch a falling oak leaf, you shall have no colds all winter. Okay, so oak trees are very powerful, magical, and also connected to Celtic mythology, Druids, Norse mythology. So these are what I would call really potent, important signifiers for you that this is your reading, okay? I would like to get a few more cards, and we're going to use the Shaman Healing Oracle. Thank you, Spirit. Further messages on what is leaving Pile 3's life and what you need them to know. What is leaving Pile 3's life? And we are going to get this, but now they're taking my eyes to the flowers on the Knight of Pentacles card. Let's see what this is. This is Passion Flower. The Vine. No, why do I keep doing this? I keep going to the Wands. I must be so drawn to creation energy for me right now, because I do feel like you're supposed to be creating, like you're supposed to be seen. Okay, Knight of Pentacles is honesty, also known as moonwort. This plant symbolizes honest work because of its semi-transparent seed vessels. That's what they were bringing my eyes to. And it's seeds that look like coins. It was thought to only grow in the gardens of honest people. The symbol is a silver Tang Dynasty hairpin, which might have been worn by a noble person in a time of great affluence and cultural wealth for China. Again, it's like your abundance, like your physical monetary abundance is directly tied to how brutally authentically you show up in the world. And I think you feel like your abundance is tied to how much you know and how much wisdom you gain before you feel ready to show up. And I just keep feeling like you're hindering yourself. That is that's almost a lie your ego is telling you to keep you in a safe feeling kind of zone. You know, I'm really drawn right now to this. Now we know it's like a dragon hairpin. Then we have this cup here. But all of these flowers are kind of overlapping each other, wrapped around something. You know, it's a little busy and messy, and it's keeping the main object of what's going on here a little bit hidden from me. And I feel like in this situation, you and your wisdom is the main object that is supposed to be being shown to the world, but your ego is keeping you, it's keeping things from moving as quickly as they should, as quickly as you would like even. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Further messages for what is leaving Group 3's life in the next 3 months. Further messages about what is leaving Group 3's life in the next 3 months, Spirit. Please and thank you. Oh, wow. Look at that. We have stripping illusions at the bottom of the deck, and that also showed up in Group 2. So again, you know, if you felt drawn, I am going to put it here. And then these both landed on the Ascendant card. Perception and healing energy. Wow. This is what this is all about. Your perception of yourself and how deeply you care to... Your perception of yourself and how deeply you care about the perception other people have of you. I keep getting this feeling that, like, you're not really someone who cares so much about makeup or, like, getting your hair done or the kind of clothes that you wear, but you are hyper aware of how people perceive your spirit and your mind. And Spirit is letting us know here that that is no different than if you were compulsively worried about how people viewed you physically. Okay, it is not so much about what you're worried. It's about your compulsion. Okay, it's about your obsessions and compulsions with wanting to, for lack of a better word, kind of manipulate how you are viewed to people. And at this point in your life, the way you have operated in the past is doing you a disservice, okay? This perception of yourself is what brings the healing energy, that abundant celebratory energy with the 3 of Cups from Spirit. And this isn't something that's going to take you very long to do, but it is going to take your cognizant effort. Because that first time you catch yourself doing that same old thing again, you're going to have to really sit there with yourself and be like, do I admit this? Do I admit that I shouldn't have offered my 2 cents? Or maybe I don't even really know that that's the correct answer. Do I admit this out loud? And it's just like finally sitting on that bike without training wheels and putting your foot on the pedal and allowing yourself to propel forward without knowing what's going to happen. That person could, you know, your worst nightmare, say, okay, what kind of idiot are you? Or something horrible. You know, I don't know what your worst case scenario would be. Actually, I think quite the opposite is going to happen, and it's going to make your relationships so much closer, so much sweeter, so much more authentic, coming from this beautiful place of, you don't know, I don't know, we can be in this space of figuring it out together. That is beautiful. That is love. That is holding someone's hand instead of saying, okay, take my hand because I know all the answers. That doesn't feel as good, you know? I do feel like I want to get you one more message, okay? Because this was a hard reading to deliver. This was like a really hard reading for me to deliver. And I don't know if anyone's even listening still at this point. Because I don't feel like Spirit's giving this to you in a real, like, kind of like squishmallow way. I feel like they're giving this to you in a very adult way. Like, you asked us where your abundance is. You asked us how to obtain it. This is the work you have to do. But really, I think you're at that level. I don't think you're at the level for Spirit to be handling you with kid gloves anymore. You know, it's like you're at the tail end here of doing that kind of work. And this really feels like the last big thing. I feel compelled to ask you about Horus and Enoch and David. Okay, I don't know why these specific names are coming out. Well, I mean, I have an idea. It feels like these are people in history, in ancient history, who had a lot of answers, who were prophets, who could commune with spirit and bring forth accurate, true, mystical, beyond explanation answers. And you're literally like one of those people. I mean, like etched in history, were they real or not kind of people. But nobody, like no one would listen to these people if they didn't have some humility about them. And I feel like you had to psych your humility out of you in this respect in order to get people to start to hear you. But like you don't vibrate in that way anymore. So it comes back again to breaking a habit. I also need to bring up that they wanted me to carve the rune Tiwaz in this candle. And Tiwaz is about justice and honor, loyalty, sacrifice, victory. These are things that you innately you carry the energy of that Tiwaz rune in you. And they want you to kind of get back to the roots of what that is, what that looks like, that because you are going to have victory in the way that you want. It's just getting over these stuck points first. Okay, so let's end this on something a little, I don't know, a little lighter for group 3 if we can. Something good. Okay. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you see this now? Did we not say this at the very beginning of your reading? All right. 888. I am abundant. 88. I am wealthy. Let's see what else came out here. 25. And 2. I am diplomatic. You have great talent for finding solutions. Your intuitive and unbiased nature allow you to see all sides of any situation and advise others towards the most fair and beneficial outcome. Like this is literally who you are in a nutshell. This is the kind of wisdom and advice you hold within you. And you are a very diplomatic person. It's more about your delivery and also knowing that you don't have all the answers and you're not supposed to. No one expects you to, you know. People are going to have so much more respect for you if you take the time to ask, would you like some advice that I feel compelled to share? Or do you want me to just be with you, sit with you, hug you, you know? And 25, this is your gift from spirit that no one can take away from you, and all the confirmation and validation you should ever need. I am intelligent. Spirit knows this about you. You know this about you. You don't have to prove it to anyone. It says you have a great ability to take in and process information on both conscious and subconscious levels. Your curiosity is endless, and your desire to dive deep into a variety of subjects will bring you an immense awareness of the world. I mean, I also want to say 27 is an important number for someone, but you are meant to be seen. You're meant to be sharing your innate, amazing, God-given gifts with the world. And these gifts are your diplomacy, your intelligence, your wisdom, and your good heart. And I think Spirit is just wanting to help you get there, because you're almost there. They want to help you get there. They're calling me to the bottom of the deck. I am adaptable, number 5. So we have 2, 2, 5, 5, and 8, 8. These repeating numbers are incredibly significant to you. Of course, 2s are about relationships, friendships, partnerships of all kinds. 5s are about change, and 8s, you know, abundance. So these are the things that you have to look forward to that are heading towards you in the next few months as you work on releasing like the final tendrils of things that have been holding you back or keeping you stuck. And that is your reading, group 3. God bless you for making it this far. Oh man, I hope that this helped you. I pray that you know my heart is in the right place channeling this message for you. I thank your guides. I thank mine. I thank Amazing Spirit for leading us, guiding us, and directing us, and loving us unconditionally, because that's what this life is all about. Love and loving each other unconditionally, without condition. That's what unconditionally means. All right. Okay, pile 3, thank you so much for spending your precious time with me. I am so immensely grateful to you and excited to see how you are going to share your beautiful wisdom with the world in the future. Hopefully the near future, because you're ready. All right, that's it. Please take excellent care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.